Today we're going to be beating Minecraft at a tick rate of 1000. The rules are simple. Beat the game while it runs like this. Let's begin. After a few resets, I managed to get the spawn I wanted. Plenty of trees in the area, sheep, and an ocean nearby. So, I got to work on building my house. And here's a short clip summarizing how that went. Yeah, it turns out doing anything at 1000 times speed is really hard. So I'm probably going to skip through all the tedious stuff, just to make this a better viewing experience for you, but trust me, I was in hell. Any bit of progress I'd ever make could instantly come undone thanks to creepers. And I'd never really get the opportunity to make much progress on the house thanks to the fast day and night cycles. So I didn't have many options but to just take my time and hope for the best. Even after finishing the foundation of my house, my problems were not over, as I still run the risk of spiders getting in and killing me. Not to mention, every time I died, I would respawn outside of my house, and run the risk of more creepers coming and blowing up my walls. So I'd need to get to work on fixing this problem. I got to work on a simple strip mine so I can gather all the resources I need, though there was the problem of keeping it well lit. A single splotch of darkness could have caused a mob to spawn and just destroy my house, so that was terrifying. But once I had all the iron I needed, as well as some wheat, I was ready to get to work on trying to get myself a bed. Now the payoff of having sheep near spawn comes into play. I take the wool for myself and go ahead and make myself a bed. Now I can finally set my spawn. All that's left for me to do now is finish building my house, and then we can begin phase 2. Everything was going great. Despite the fact that I did need to switch up my wood type throughout the building process, the house turned out really well. It's cozy, and I don't think any mobs will be able to get in, so I think it's time I move on to the mining process. One good thing about playing this game on such a high speed is I don't even need a pickaxe to go mining. I could just punch through the stone. It's kind of useful knowing that at any moment I could probably be killed, so it's good to have a less risky method to get through the game. It didn't take long using this method for me to find a lava pool, which was great because this was half of what I needed to make myself a nether portal. Just moments ago, I was getting swarmed by mobs every few seconds, but now it actually feels like I'm making good progress. By this point, I had actually started to become a little bit hopeful. Maybe I could beat this challenge after all. Of course, I still needed to find some diamonds, which is annoying for a couple of reasons. After getting lava poured on my face a couple times, I finally managed to find some diamonds, which I then used to make myself a diamond pickaxe. And then I immediately burnt it. After getting myself a new pickaxe, I managed to gather all the obsidian I needed to make the nether portal, which means it's time to once again move on to the next step of this challenge. Here we go. What the fuck? When I first got to the nether, it was actually a pretty convenient spawn. It was a pretty enclosed area, so there weren't going to be any gas spawning in and constantly blowing me up. But there was still the problem of finding the nether fortress, which I got straight to. I immediately got to strip mining in the hopes of running into the nether fortress. Though my time in the strip mine was short-lived, as I was almost immediately greeted to the harsh nature of the nether at this speed. Both finding and entering a nether fortress would be nearly impossible to do, and I can't even imagine how difficult it's going to be to get back after I do it. Though we don't got all of the time in the world, so why don't I just go ahead and show you a quick compilation of every time I was fireballed by a ghast. I had honestly expected myself to die more, but regardless, I had made it to the fortress. But I couldn't just enter normally, not at this speed. My strategy was to mine below the nether fortress and capture the blazes from below. On the first attempt, I didn't get any blazes, but I did get a wither skeleton. Now I have something to hide my skin's ugly face. The second attempt went a little better, and the grinding process had begun.
5 hours later.
It took an ungodly amount of hours, but I finally managed to get all of the blaze rods I needed. But I couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of dread, knowing that I had to still get back to the portal. If I died on the way back, I would have to do all of that all over again. It's been many days since I escaped the nether. I've been hearing banging on the doors. I had to block them to keep the monsters out. I'm all out of food, and I'm hanging in by a thread. Despite my condition, I'm still determined to reach the end and beat this challenge. Throughout these days, I've been waiting in my house in the hopes that Endermen will come inside so that I can kill them and take their ender pearls. But as you have probably guessed, this hasn't been very efficient. I just couldn't think of any other way to get them that didn't put my life or builds in danger. As inefficient as it was, I finally had managed to get all of the ender pearls I needed to get to the end. I threw the first pearl and now knew exactly where I needed to go. But now there was the issue of getting to the stronghold. I couldn't just walk outside and go there on foot because we all know how that would go. So unfortunately I have no choice but to strip mine all the way there. Kill me. I didn't make it very far though before something shocking, something terrible happened. Somehow, a creeper had managed to spawn inside of my house and enter the boat that I had been using to capture the Enderman. I didn't know what to do in this situation. If I got close to it, then I could theoretically just punch it to death and take care of the problem. But if I got too close, it would instantly blow up, destroying my chest and all of the items inside of it. I also had the thought of using a bow, but if I missed, it might destroy the boat and end up with the same problem. I spent some time formulating a plan that could possibly kill the creeper, but couldn't think of anything safe or convenient enough. So, in the end, I had to go with the first idea, but to do this, I had to make sure that my items were safe. So I went down to the mines and started gathering obsidian so I can make myself an ender chest. I got the obsidian I needed and made my way back up to craft the ender chest. The creeper had despawned, and all that panic was for nothing. Anyways, back to strip mining. While most of the mining process was just me mindlessly mining blocks until I reached the stronghold, there was some useful stuff I found, like this spider spawner, which I'm sure will come in handy to me later in the run. But I still need to explain how I tracked the stronghold while underground. Basically, I would dig out these big rooms before throwing out the eyes. That way I can still see the direction the eyes of enders are going, and I can collect them afterwards. The two most important things while mining at the speed is making sure that the cave is extremely well lit so that no monsters will spawn and come and kill you instantly, and listen out for lava popping sounds so you don't get burned alive. Other than that, there's not really much to worry about, so this was overall a pretty easy part of the challenge for me. As you'd expect, this took me quite a while. And even though I did find the stronghold and portal room, I want to show you the tunnel I dug out, just so you can get a sense of how long this took. I got pretty lucky and a sheep wandered under one of the craters in my house, so I was able to get myself a bed and set my spawn in the portal room. Now I just needed to activate the portal. It might not have been much to you, but to me, this was a great achievement. I had overcome so much to get to this point, and now I just had one more struggle to go through before I had finished this challenge. I entered the portal and began the final chapter. This was my introduction to the Ender Dragon, and terrifying doesn't even begin to describe it. Let me go ahead and explain how the boss works real quick. The Ender Dragon will spend most of its time flying around in the air and spitting fireballs down at the player. After doing this for a while, it will fly down to the center of the island and defend itself. And after doing that for a while, it'll fly directly at the player in an attempt to kill them. Then from there, it will repeat the cycle throughout the boss fight. While this is happening, the Ender Dragon will fly around and heal itself up using the end crystals at the top of each obsidian pillar on the island. These end crystals need to be destroyed if you want to deal actual damage to the dragon. While this boss sounds easy on paper, the reality of the situation is at this speed, I can only survive a few seconds in the end before the Ender Dragon comes and kills me, sometimes even less. So unfortunately, I had to withdraw to the overworld, gather resources, and construct a new plan for taking down the Ender Dragon. Lucky for me, I found a spider spawner earlier in the run, so I was able to use that to farm resources for the boss fight. As everything in this run, it took a lot of time, but I was able to craft myself a bunch of bows and start taking out the end crystals on each of the pillars. Not given many error options, my strategy at the time was to simply brute force it and take shot after shot at the end crystals until I hit them. I continued this strategy for many days, but I guess we'll see how this changes over time. Hi, it's been a while. My strategy has changed a lot, and I've gone completely insane. I'm not even gonna bother explaining my strategy. It's a lot. You can figure it out yourself if you want, put the pieces together. I'm currently at the last end crystal, and if all goes right, this will work, it will be destroyed, and I can finally begin whittling down the dragon's health. At first, I thought whittling down the dragon's health would be the easiest part, but then I hit my biggest roadblock yet. Every time you die and leave the end, all damage you deal to the Ender Dragon will reset. I did not know this and was in shock when I saw it. When I came to this realization, it completely broke me down and I felt hopeless. There was literally nothing I can do to consistently deal damage to the Ender Dragon while staying alive. So, for the first time in this run, I genuinely felt like it was over. There was nothing I can do. I had failed the challenge. That was until I came up with one final idea. It was a little crazy, but it might work. And to pull it off, I'm gonna need to go back to the nether one last time. I did it. I beat the Ender Dragon. All that was left to do now was just enter the portal. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you didn't, I'm sorry. Still, thanks for watching till the end. I worked hard on this. Be sure to check out some of my other challenge runs if you like this video. Hope you have a great day.